Welcome to the laboratories of North Shore Community College. The laboratory component of this course is meant to illuminate and augment your learning. When you behave safely and properly, lab exercises will complement and aid your understanding of science. When you behave improperly or unsafely, you become at least a distraction and at worst, a danger to yourself and your classmates. Failure to comply with the stated rules of the lab will result in your dismissal from the lab. Repeated violations of the rules will result in a failing grade for the course. You will not be admitted to the laboratory if you are improperly dressed. Clothing must cover at least your torso, upper arms, and legs to the knee. This is meant to protect you from chemical spills. Shoes must be closed-toed. Wide, sweeping sleeves or other loose clothing must be avoided. Long hair should be tied back. Additional protective gear may be required for certain exercises. Safety goggles are required for any lab in which chemicals or live bacteria cultures are used or dissections are performed. Eyeglasses are not sufficient protection, and approved goggles must be worn over them. Goggles protect you not only from your own experiment, but from the potential errors made by your lab mates. If your goggles become contaminated while you are wearing them, rinse them thoroughly before removing them to avoid introducing the material into the eyes or onto the skin. Nitrile gloves are provided for you in lab. These must be worn when working with bacterial cultures, certain chemicals, or when performing dissections. They come in various sizes, so you can find the size that fits you best. When in lab, nothing, not even water, is to cross your lips. You may not chew gum, apply lip balm, bite your fingernails, chew your pens, or otherwise allow any item to touch your eyes, mouth, or nose. You should treat every substance in the lab as potentially contaminated by chemical residues or live bacteria. All water or other beverages and all food must be left outside the lab. You should treat every surface in the lab as potentially contaminated by chemical residues or live bacteria. All water, other beverages, and all food must be left outside the lab. Washing your hands is the most important thing you can do to protect your health and the health of your lab mates. Always wash your hands before you leave the lab. If you're pregnant, are immunosuppressed for any reason, or have a significant health condition, please notify your instructor, who will provide you with a list of laboratory exercises and supplies used in the course. You can then consult your doctor about the safety of continuing in the course. Your instructor cannot and will not make any medical recommendations regarding your potential risks for participating in the lab while pregnant or under treatment for a medical condition. You are responsible for understanding the experiment before beginning work. You must read through the entire procedure in advance, and you must understand all the potential hazards involved. If chemicals are used, your lab manual or protocol may give you some information on the associated risks. But more detailed information is available in the safety data sheets, or SDS forms. These sheets are provided for every substance used in lab and outline general risks as well as specific risks to vulnerable populations. For instance, if you have a respiratory condition or are pregnant, there may be particular precautions you need to take. The SDS forms are available to you at any time, and your instructor will inform you of their location. Cell phones are not to be used in lab. Not only will you potentially contaminate your phone with chemicals or bacteria by handling it during lab, but it may also distract you from what is happening around you. Such obliviousness serves no one. You have already seen the severe potential consequences of a failure to follow lab safety rules. Hopefully your close attention and adherence to the rules will keep this from happening to you. But accidents do occur, and you must be prepared in order to minimize the resulting damage. Before beginning your first lab, familiarize yourself with the safety equipment provided in your room. Locate the fire extinguisher, safety shower, eye wash, fire blanket, first aid kit, and emergency telephone. These are the basic tools you will need to respond to lab accidents. Notify your instructor and your classmates that a spill has occurred. If the material has spilled on a person or his or her clothing, remove the clothing and flush the area of skin with water for a full 15 minutes. If a large area of the body has been contaminated, you may have to use the safety shower. In case of a burn, one member of the lab should notify the instructor. If clothing is on fire, the victim should stop, drop, and roll. A fire blanket can be used to smother the flames, but must be removed as soon as they are extinguished. Once the flames are extinguished, bring the burn victim to a sink or to the safety shower, depending on the extent of the burns. Run cool water over the affected area while waiting for emergency personnel to arrive. All cuts, no matter how minor, must be reported to your instructor. If a lab mate is cut and is bleeding, do not attempt to clean up or tend the wound yourself. If you have a cut, proceed to the sink and wash the cut thoroughly with soap and water and notify the instructor. Do not leave bags in the walkways. This can be a trip hazard to your fellow students who may be distracted. Bags should be tucked under lab benches or placed on areas of countertop that aren't being used for the lab. All accidents involving personal injury shall be reported in writing to the laboratory coordinator or department chairperson by the laboratory instructor. Both the instructor and the student are required to complete an accident report form. This must be completed and submitted within 24 hours, and ideally, completed forms should be submitted before the student and faculty member leave the campus. In the event of an evacuation, you must proceed to the designated meeting place for your class. Your instructor is responsible for verifying everyone's safe exit from the building, and if you are not accounted for, others may be unnecessarily endangered in an attempt to locate and rescue you. Chemical waste must be placed into designated containers labeled with their specific contents. If the chemical you used is not listed on the available waste container, ask your instructor for a new one. Some chemicals are dangerously incompatible and must not be mixed. Nothing goes down the drain or into the trash unless your instructor gives permission to do so. Many labs call for the use of live bacteria, plants, or animals. These can present potential hazards, and in the case of live animals, require appropriate care and respect. Even the smallest animal specimens must be handled carefully. Use only the number of specimens you actually need, and do not subject the animals to unnecessary stress. Aquatic organisms, for instance, should not be left out of the water any more than is necessary for observation. When on field trips, you may encounter potentially dangerous plants and animals. For example, poison ivy is found in abundance in our region, as are potentially disease-carrying organisms such as ticks. Your instructor will help you identify these organisms and help you avoid them. Some labs may utilize real human bones. Always keep in mind that these bones are human remains donated to us by their previous owner or his or her family. Treat them with respect, asking yourself what the family members of the bone donor would think if they observed your actions. When you are finished using your microscope, remove your slide and clean any immersion oil from the lens using designated lens cleaner and wipes. Microscopes are expensive and delicate instruments which must be handled with care. When carrying a microscope, support it with one hand under the base and the other hand on the neck. Failure to do so can result in damage to the instrument or to the foot of the person holding it. Any lab activity that involves living organisms, including live bacteria, produces waste that must be handled separately from other types of wastes. Slides that are made using cells, bacteria, or other living organisms should be put in the designated waste container. Slides go in whole. You do not need to remove cover slips or the living material first. Cultures of bacteria or other living organisms must be autoclaved before disposal. Your instructor will tell you where to place your used plates, culture tubes, or other culture materials for autoclaving. When finished with your experiment, put away all materials and supplies and wipe down your lab bench with disinfectant. If you are in doubt as to the proper disposal of any material, ask your instructor. Don't forget to wash your hands before you leave lab. It may seem that there are endless rules and regulations to be followed while in lab. For the most part, if you utilize common sense, you and your classmates will be safe, secure, and able to maximize the learning opportunities afforded by lab exercises. When in doubt, ask for guidance or assistance. But be aware that violations of these rules may result in your immediate removal from the laboratory. Keep your wits about you, pay attention, and follow the rules, and I assure you, you will learn a great deal and likely enjoy yourself too. Welcome to Lab.